to join, having fun and talking about the events of the day, the week, and the events of the world. What's going on, Kwyn? You're in school, teaching on the other side of the classroom now, or the podium, if you
Yes.
will. And classes have started, huh?
Yes, classes have started for JMU students. This is a really, really big school. I've never been to a school where like the incoming class is 5,000 students.
Wow.
So the students that I've been seeing today like are all over from different hairstyles, different accents, just like all things different. And it was just crazy me being asked like, oh, how do I get to so and so on campus? And I'm like, girl, I just came here. I don't even know. Like,
and I
did you
bet you
Google
did.
it? I was like, I think you should try Google. Google is your best friend for me. But
Do they
I
give
went
you
out.
maps or anything?
JMU did not give me a student map. They told me to go on their website, and I did. I was given a tour for my interview, but it was so quick, and I was just so overwhelmed. I was just like, "Wait, hold on. Y'all have a Starbucks on campus? Like, let's go back. Y'all have a Starbucks on campus? Like,
That's the attractive element.
Right. That's what won her over, Steve. That's how she decided to take
I mean,
the gig.
Starbucks?
coming from Macomb, Illinois, like, yes, absolutely. But it was good. We have like some welcome back things later on this week, with like bouncy houses and DJs and stuff.
Wait. The college
Okay.
kids have a bouncy house?
Yes.
Is this
And we're gonna play.
is that normal?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, like for orientation, like with
I've seen
they even have
bouncy
like
houses.
adult like soccer, like they have these big blown up like bowling pins and stuff where you could like adult bowling. It's like really, it's like imagine a playground, but like you're an ant.
I get that, but I'm talking bouncy house.
Oh yes, with the slide and everything. They love all of that stuff. These are kids. We're all still kids. We're just
You're all still kids.
adults.
Well, some of us more so than others, I guess.
Allegedly.
Okay. So bouncy house is nothing new to you. Okay. And you're also in the possibility of this weekend moving into your place.
Friday, I just get my new apartment. I'm gonna get y'all know that song by Lennox?
Yeah, but that's not kid-like.
Okay. But I mean, no, it's not.
That's
Because
adults.
when I sent over that first move-in fees, all that stuff, I said, okay, like this is my roof over my head with my electric bill, my gas, my renter's insurance, like all that stuff. This is mine. But I'm just really excited to move into a blank space that's finally like my own space. So yeah, send blessings. Hopefully it's a quick move in, and
all you need now is somebody you can tell to get out.
And that is the sign of adulthood.
I'm looking forward to that moment.
And give me my key back. So Stephen Hill, how are you? What's going on?
You know what? First of all, good evening, Kwyn and Sybil. I'm challenged right now because my worst dream has come true. The love of my life is off in another city with a chocolate mustachioed handsome man. Now, this is my nightmare coming true. Just so there's no confusion. Literally, this kind of guy who is the guy I've always been afraid who is going to take my girl. Because tonight in Detroit, Michigan, please head to the Aretha Franklin Theater if you're not already on the way there to see Shantae Moore and Keith Washington.
Shut up.
Well, listen to me. And when I tell you that Keith Washington is exactly the kind of guy who haunts my dreams, like, I'm going to take your girl, Steven. Like, exactly, curly hair and mustache. It's like, he's the freaking Schlitz malt liquor bowl in person. Like, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Like, what? Anyhow, I'm hoping she comes home. I'm hoping she comes home.
She'll come home.
She will.
I'm not sure.
Because you know what? Shantae's got a man at home.
Yeah,
I have to Google who this person is.
Keith Washington is before your time.
Yes. They have a song together called Candlelight and You. It's a wonderful, wonderful song. And had a song called Kissing You and he's one of them smooth R&B cats from Ask Your Mama. Ask Your Mama. Ask Your Mama. Ask Your Mama. I mean, disrespect. It's okay. Ask your mama. She'll know. She'll know
All right.
But don't ask her around your daddy though.
Wow. All right, let's move on to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday effort to super serve the African American community with our news stories, as well as other features that we have in the newsletter. If you would like to subscribe, it's absolutely free. Please go to sybilwilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box when? First thing, Monday through Friday morning. Young Kwyn is our LBGTQ plebe AHI element OP plus
Disrespectful.
A.
Disrespectful. You could just say LGBT plus. If you don't want to say it, just say plus.
You know what?
Plus.
I got deep into the letters, Kwyn. I'm sorry. That was a mistake on my part. I wasn't meaning to be disrespectful. I promise you. LGBTQ plus social activist and writer. And so today you are going to talk about one school district that is banning pride flags. And it may be one of many, I don't know. But in your story, you talk about one particular school district in Wisconsin.
Yes. So last week we had talked about another state that's actually in the process of banning all types of flags as well. So this is something that is happening around our nation right now, but Wisconsin is up next. The Kettle Moraine School District has barred employees from displaying gay pride flags in classrooms or from putting their preferred pronouns in their email signatures, which is distinct from the other laws we've been covering. This vote was not unanimous. There was one person by the name of Jim Romanowski, who was the only member to vote no on the ban after listening to students and staff. So this is something that students and staff did not want. The Kettle Moraine School District Superintendent Stephen Plum told the school board the district's interpretation of a policy that prohibits staff from using their pronouns to promote partisan politics, religious views, and propaganda for personal, monetary, or non-monetary gain changed following a legal analysis. Plum said teachers and administrators are prohibited from displaying political or religious messages in the classrooms or on their person, including pride flags, Black Lives Matter, and We Back the Badge signs. Staff may not also say in emails what the preferred pronouns are. So two students at Kettle Moraine High School, Bethany Probin and Britt Farrar, started an online petition that has already gained over 1,000 signatures since this past Wednesday. And the ACLU of Wisconsin also issued a statement saying that if you have a policy that says nothing political, does that mean you can't have a sign up that says support our troops or believe women or save the planet? By some people's definitions, all of those things are political. Christine Donahue, who is an attorney with the ACLU of Wisconsin, said that. And she said that she's looking into policy, as well as one that was approved by another school district in Waukesha. A teacher in Waukesha gained national attention last year when the school district suspended her after she pinned a pride flag in her classroom.
So this is going to, is a lawsuit is going to follow?
I don't know. I feel
as a result of this online signature petition?
I feel as if it could possibly be a thing, especially since they're seeing like a national trend right now between what's being said in schools, what can't be said, what can't be displayed, and what can't be. But it's really, I think it leads to a larger conversation, which I appreciate the ACLU comment as far as like what is political and what's not political.
Right.
Because when you do have stuff that's in there that's talking about saving the planet, when you do have stuff that's in there saying support the troops, that we believe in women, and all that stuff is acceptable, but a teacher can't put their pronouns, it's kind of just like, okay, we can't be picky and we can't actually be subjective, because then in that way, I think that leads to bias and then homophobia or transphobia. So if you're going to say all political things, let's make them all. Which is why I kind of appreciate that they say, okay, no, like Blue Lives Matter, no, we back the badge.
Right.
But
yeah, that's kind of throwaway. I think it sounds like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have worked in Wisconsin, and I have, northern Wisconsin, and I've been in southern Wisconsin, and Waukesha is a suburb of Milwaukee. That's why I'm kind of surprised that it is, because it's close to Milwaukee. I'm kind of surprised by, this particular flat out abuse of freedom of speech by students and teachers in that particular area. But then again, I'm not, because of some other things that have happened in Wisconsin. But do you get a sense, which is why I was asking about a lawsuit, do you get a sense they're going to do anything to fight this? I mean, this one school board member, God bless him, he did what he's supposed to do, and that is to consult with the students.
Right. Yes. Well, first of all, I didn't know it was Waukesha. I thought it was Waukesha. How come y'all let me say Waukesha and it's Waukesha for so long?
I didn't know. By the way, I was going to go back to that because I think your name is much better than the way it's supposed to be. I like Waukesha, Wisconsin. Like either that's my stepsister's name or
right.
Waukesha, Wisconsin, get in here.
Waukesha, Wisconsin.
That's how you know
could be a name.
South side of Chicago. It really did. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, Waukesha. Okay, so yes, Waukesha. But yes, I think they do have some actual like tangible examples of not only like the abuse, but also just of this time that we're in, like since post-Trump, and like how we have these different type of this residue from like that whole political, like, let's just call it a messiness that he implemented in terms of law and like legalities and all that type of stuff. And now that it's taking place in our school, because I haven't seen it happen yet on a university campus. And I think universities are still a place, a nice fertilizing place of like freedom of speech. But also a lot of people call like higher education very liberal anyway, but we can talk about that another day. But yeah, I do feel as if they could. I hope they do. Sue them all.
Let me ask you about another story that we did in the newsletter. Actually, your brother Cameron wrote about this in the newsletter today, and it's a new survey, and it finds that most Americans know very little about our Black history, including Black folks or people of color, especially. This is a survey released by an organization called More in Common. And they found most Americans remember the period of the civil rights period for the nonviolent protests and leaders, including Reverend Martin Luther King and Mrs. Rosa Parks, and agreed that 77% of those surveyed said that all students should learn about leaders other than those two. And another 80% agreed that students should learn both successes brought by the movement and the struggles faced by those involved. But in terms of those that were not necessarily nonviolent protests, they're not down with that. And they don't know about Bloody Sunday. They don't know about protests that started out as nonviolent, but ended up as a horrible violent event. And I think it's overall, when we're looking at critical race theory and the possibility of this in our classrooms, even though it's not a part of classroom theory, talking about it and wanting to remove books and things like that from the libraries, and not wanting kids to feel bad about slavery or about the protest movements. This is only going to push us back further in terms of learning our history and teaching our history to students who are not of this community. And I was taken aback by the fact that I got a text from a friend of mine this morning, and says that, the first thing he does every morning is read our What You Need to Know newsletter. And then he told me about something that happened to him. He is involved, we've had him on the show before. Craig Kirby is involved with a program getting young people involved in all facets of golf. Not just as a golfer, but running golf clubs, being, owning golf clubs, golf courses and what have you. And so he has one of their summer interns, and it's a young Latina woman. She's a college sophomore from the South Side of Chicago. And so he asked her, where she was from. And she said the South Side. And they started talking a bit more, and they're asking Craig how his career started. And he said he told her how it started was working on Jesse Jackson's political campaigns of 84 and 88. And she said to him, this Hispanic girl from the South Side of Chicago said, "Who is Jesse Jackson?"
That makes sense to me. That makes perfect sense. Why would how old is the girl?
She's a sophomore in college.
Why would she know about Jesse Jackson?
About 2000, year 2000. Well, first of all, I'm thinking from the city of Chicago.
And that's what I was going to say. Rainbow Push is literally.
And I'm not sure where she lived, but South Side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Nothing,
No.
nothing. So nothing in the neighborhood, nothing in the classroom, nothing. And this points to the necessity for, as if we're not getting it in our classrooms for our children, then it's incumbent upon us to tell our stories and to tell our history. Which is why we have the little No Black History Fact, but maybe we should move it up higher in the newsletter. And I, I've heard discussions, and I want to get your feedback on. First of all, Stephen, I think you gave me an idea of where you're coming from in all of this, but it just surprises me that with all of the things that are available to us, kids don't know history.
We have to be pushed towards it, right? So if it's not in school, no kid wants to learn. No, not no kid, but very few. Kwyn's the exception, right? She is very active. Her brain has been active clearly for a while, but I'm sure a lot of her contemporaries are just like, let me get through this class and move on. Right. And so I think the world is full of far more of them than they are of Kwyn's. And so it doesn't surprise me when someone, especially Jesse Jackson, who he was a community leader, but never elected to a position. Like there's no reason for him to be kind of captured in the traditional ways that would be fed back to us in schools. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just true. There are many others, I think as well. But it doesn't surprise me when people who are a generation, or actually now candidly 2 generations behind us, that don't know people who are so important to us. And by the way, and she might not know who Malcolm X is. And I think that's for a different reason. I think that the reason for that is that like everybody's gonna do everything they can to push the peaceful guy.
Yeah.
History gonna push the peaceful guy you can't avoid, as opposed to the violent one who was more about taking it.
I was gonna say too, I feel like Black people don't know a lot about Latinx history though too. Like it's really like we don't know each other's history at all. Period.
And that was my next question. Is it fair for us to say, they don't know our history, but how much of their history do we know?
Not that much, especially not. That's what I was gonna say. I feel like I learned more about my Black history from my church than my actual elementary and high school. And then by the time I got to college is when I really first heard about Fannie Lou Hamer. I was like, what? There's a Black woman like Shirley Chisholm? Who? Like what? That's when I learned about all of that. It was not in elementary and high school. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure, like, Sybil, you're aware, but like how difficult it is to get certain books to actually be approved to teach in elementary and high school. So I think they've been teaching the same books that have us muted and erased for like a very long time now, especially Jesse Jackson. Like, what? So I would get mad at her, but I'm more mad at the system.
I'm mad at the system, and I'm with you. I'm not against. I'm sad for her. I'm not.
Is a word,
but go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
Why would they know? Okay, for what has Jesse Jackson done that people would know, like, who weren't around when Jesse was around and at the peak of his powers?
Well, I will tell you, he has probably pulled back a little bit in his activities because of his health and his age.
Right.
But I will say that on the regular, Steve, he goes to the schools throughout the city of Chicago, throughout the state of Cook County and the state of Illinois, and he will make sure the kids are registered to vote. That has been his big push for years, for generations now. And it's not unusual for them to have the stories of him at graduations all through the season, going there, congratulating kids and handing them their voter registration card with their diplomas. So that's one thing. He's also very big in the prison visitation program and things like that. So, but like what Kwyn was saying and what I was going to ask about is how many people know who Cesar Chavez is?
I didn't learn about him until college either.
And that's a ways back, but certainly a man who made a big difference in the farm labor movement, and especially amongst
genius.
Amongst Hispanics. And so, there's a little give and take here. And I think that it's just incumbent upon us, if we're not going to get it in our schools, it's incumbent upon us to have these discussions and these educational sessions with our young people to talk about it. Okay, I know we're out of time.
I have because the first place I ever heard Cesar Chavez's name was in the song "Black Man" from "Songs of the Key of Life" by Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder's song "Black Man" introduced me to so many names for the first time that still resonate today. The lessons is in the music. All right, Yolanda, I'm shutting up. Yolanda. Okay.
One more thing. Go to the Black and Missing Foundation, our partnership with the Black and Missing Foundation, and find out about Danielle Vines and her baby who have been missing for a few weeks in Prince George's County, Maryland. That's it. Okay.
Cesar Chavez. Oh no, man.
Right. All right. Let's move to our question of the day. And what's really going on is the question. And this came as a result of our text conversation this afternoon amongst the group, including Myra J.
Are we really gonna go there? Okay.
Yeah. because here's the point. See, I really want to know the people who are watching and listening. I really want to know your opinions on President Biden's announcement about student loan and debt relief. So for those of you who don't know, he has made the announcement today that students making less than $150,000 a year, I'm sorry, $125,000. Yeah, $250 for married couples. They will have $10,000 immediately of their federal student loans forgiven. If you have Pell Grants, that's another $10,000 that you will have taken off of your debt. They also have a number of other programs that they are restructuring to help people who go into jobs in the community sector, such as public school teachers, law enforcement, local police departments, those who work for local charities and military and what have you. They're restructuring that particular program as well, in which their loans will be forgiven. Also, if you are 20 years in paying back your student loan and still have not completed it, your debt will be forgiven. That's going to help a lot of people, obviously. And so all of these were the things that the president spoke about today. So this started our conversation. And Myra J said, I don't know how this is going to affect you, Kwyn, but, I'm glad, that something is going down. So my question is, as we continue our conversation, we also want to hear from you, and several questions. Are you down for it? Will this help you directly or indirectly? Is this enough or not? And what are your suggestions? And is it, as I said in the story that I did for tomorrow's newsletter, is it a good start? Because there are all kinds of things, and let's start with young Kwyn, because this has been one of her causes for a very long time. I think since she's come on the show, I think this has been something that you have been talking about, and a little communista that you are, and I mean that with love. But you have always been pushing for total eradication of the debt, the student loan debt.
Joe, I do gotta say, my boy, I think you did something there. I think you did something good there, Joe, and I do have to give you a dip, a little dap, a little, a clap, a high five, because I think this is
attaboy, Joe.
Yes, attaboy, Joe. Like this is transformative to me. I think even the fact that no borrowers will not have any interest anymore, on their loans, and the fact that they intentionally put folks that receive the Pell Grant, that specifically is folks that look like us, folks from neighborhoods like us, folks that grew up like us. It's just really it's striking, and it gives me, I don't know, I think about the future, and I think about the students who may grow up in a different socioeconomic status, that my children, may grow up differently. I'm already up and coming in the middle class, actually makes, a quarter meal a year. So, we're going to see where that goes. But the fact that students who will have had the experience that I had growing up and know that they will not have to be enslaved to this idea of debt is like a definition of liberation that like I didn't think that I would be able to see. So I'm kind of like liberally happy.
Mhm.
I have to do more research into it before I get angry again about our system. But I will say for right now, I don't know if it's just because it's the first day of school and I'm all giddy, but I'm happy. I don't have any complaints for me. You know, I know some people who do make more than $125,000 a year may be a little bit more upset, but you know, don't let this pit us against each other, y'all. This is not the time. This is not the time to start saying like, oh, well, what about me? What about me? About me? This is more so like a celebration, because when we think about intersectionality, when we think about joint liberation, we aren't free until we all are free. And so a lot of times with capitalism, we kind of think as if like, okay, well, what about mine? What about mine? We got to think about what about us? And right now, there's something that's good for us. And like
Good for
as a
you.
community, especially like people of color and marginalized identity. So this is good for us. This is a good win. Cheers to Joe. Attaboy. Attaboy. So yeah.
Stephen Hill, what do you think?
So I'm really happy for anybody who ever has any kind of financial relief at all. I'm trying to understand why, and again, I admit I may not know why folks who were these loans forced upon people, or were they willingly taken, or were they forced upon people? Were they willingly taken? They were willingly taken, right? So they willingly took loans out, knowing the what it took to pay them back.
Right.
Cool. Look, like I did for my house. Like, so, and I don't expect the president to go like, oh, I know you took this loan out for your house. You don't have to pay it back anymore. Now, I want to say this because, you know, I felt a shot thrown at me a while ago. So I had student loans. And so long before I made even a fraction of $125,000, I just had to consistently pay off a loan that I voluntarily took. No one forced me to take it. Nobody told me and it taught me partially responsibility, that you do have responsibilities when you take someone's money and you get a service, that you have to pay for that service. And you can choose not to do the service. You can choose not to do it. So I candidly don't understand. And maybe there's something's changed since I went to school, and I'm willing to admit that. But maybe something's changed where you get you to go to school, you get a loan, someone pays that. And so now I'm not sure whether it's now taxes go up because there's a chasm between the people who got the loans have already paid the institution. So now they're basically saying you don't have to pay the people who gave you the money back. So what happens? What's the economic process that happens that fixes that? So I guess my point is, like, I'm not sad about people getting their loans back. I just don't understand the philosophy that you willingly take a loan and then there should be a whole movement to have it forgiven. That's
Right.
all.
So, as one who has also had student loans, and at one point I had 3 jobs in order to pay off my student loans, and I subsequently did, when I was making far less, as Stephen Hill said, a fraction of the $125,000 hold there. But I'm really glad. And I have it's like, well, that's not fair. I'm not one of those people. I think that any opportunity you can to have some assistance in what has become an incredible burden, because we're even talking about people who at this point have still been making their student loan repayments for 20 years. And now the president says, you're free and clear. I have no problem with that. I really don't. But the problem I have is with the people who say, oh, this isn't fair. What about the people who chose to go into other areas so they wouldn't have this student debt, so they didn't have to take out the loans to become the backbone of this country, who are the plumbers and the electricians and what have you, all of these people. I'm not saying, I say thank you. And yet I'm paying more than I pay for my monthly student loan, or did for my monthly student loan, when you come to my house to work on things. So I think you're okay. I think you're okay. And if you already paid off your loans, I think maybe there should be something in addition to absolve you of some of this, and what that could come in the form of tax credits. If you have finished off, and you take it to the Department of Education, and maybe we can work out something that you can get a tax credit for those of you who, even during the pandemic, were still paying their student loans. I don't have a problem with that. But I think it's ridiculous. Is she unhappy with me? Is that what? But I think what's ridiculous are those Republicans who don't have a problem giving all the tax advantages to the millionaires, gazillionaires, and corporations. And now they're angry because somebody is going to get $20,000 help. And all the corporations that got money during the pandemic. I think that is what pisses me off more. I'm sorry, what ticks me off more than anything else.
I don't mind that. I mean, like, yeah, I don't want you to feel like I was trying to like personally attack you and your salary. Like,
no,
let me just say this.
No. I just thought it was very funny, and I'm not.
No.
No,
you let me say this.
I want all that. I want us all to be free. Like,
and that's the beauty of you. That's the beauty of you, Kwyn.
Yeah, my idea of justice is not let's flip it around. Like everybody up here is not going to be down here. I want it flat. There is no hierarchy. I don't think God created us to exist in these different classes. We're all supposed to be equal. Like, and equality does mean not only like a compromise, but it means I have to see you as I would see myself. So that's how I'm able to celebrate other people that are in a different position than me. Like, period. But I do want all student debt canceled. And because I don't see within the lens or confinement that I feel like America has us seen, where like people tell me like, oh, well, that's impossible. But we do cancel our student debt. We should start also canceling all medical debt. And if we start canceling all medical debt, then we should get rid of rent and the idea of people have to pay for housing because you need a house to live. That's literally an essential thing as a human being. And if we cancel that, then everybody has to understand that we need an actual living wage. And if you give people an actual living wage, then the whole society is going to collapse. And that's where I'm at. I kind of want to collapse.
I promise you, I've said this before. When you get on the side where you're actually creating a good for which people pay money, you will feel differently. When you're actually on the I want you to hear me. When you are the person building the house that you're saying the rent should be free, you're going to feel differently. When you're the bank that's lending the money, that all of a sudden the government says like, oh, you don't get any money. Nobody needs to pay you back, and you got to make that up. You're going to feel differently. That's all.
Yeah, I feel like I would, because I would be forced to. But that's why I'm in this type of field of education where I don't. And that's where I have the privilege to actually still like imagine things differently because I don't have that type of perspective. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not confined to that because I don't have an allegiance to it. I don't have an obedience to it. And I don't have like a legal, economical understanding of it because I think it's ludicrous. I think it's weird. I think it's strange. But of course, to a banker, to a land property owner, to somebody else, it makes sense because that's what they do. I'm a poet. I do higher education.
Yeah,
okay.
I do want to answer one because I've heard a couple.
Let me, Stephen. I want you also to, because we have asked people for their comments and they have given them, and we have gone on for a while. So Yolanda, can you and Stephen, we can still have you join in here. Yolanda, can we have the comments, please? Okay. All right. There we go. Joy on YouTube says $10,000 won't help. Forgiveness helps. And is that where you are too, Kwyn?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said beautifully as far as a good start. I think this type of change is going to take a time, like, unfortunately, but I do think that's a good start.
Yolanda, can you give us that? Can you give us that last comment? Kyra Harris on Facebook said, "Forget being forgiven, but deleted and never coming back student loans." Wow,
and that's what I say too. Yes.
That's a lot. That's a lot, but why not throw it in there? Why not? Brian Scott said some relief is better than no relief. Brian is on Facebook. Thank you, President Biden. He says. Michelle Gonzalez on YouTube says, "I think this will be a game changer to help people to become future homeowners."
Looper. Sorry, I that. Michelle.
And I agree. I think that this is going to help people, however much it is, to start even to help people who need a savings account, to put money
Okay.
that they would normally be
car.
putting towards their to save up and to buy what you need, a house, a car, put food in your gas in your tank. Eileen Littlejohn says, not for me but for my family members, they should be grateful. Some is better than none. And Eileen is watching us on YouTube. Some is better than none. And Kwyn, this is a discussion we had because other people have said $50,000 or eliminate the debt altogether. I think this is a discussion we're going to have to come back to. But
higher education is a scam. We shouldn't actually pay for any of it. But
says the person who works in higher education.
I'm working for the white man that I want to
You're fine to not get any revenue. You're fine to not getting any salary.
But it's okay. That's what I'm
You're
saying.
fine with that?
Imagine.
Okay.
No, I'm asking you. You're fine not.
Just
not
answer the
any
question.
money.
Just answer the question. Okay. All right. So now we have to move on, and I promise we will come back to this. I promise. The clock is not our friend, and neither is Yolanda Starks-White. Okay. So now it's time for us to move to trending topics and things that are going on. And Stephen Hill, you talked about your woman. She is on the road. She's in Detroit tonight.
With another man.
Yeah, I'd gladly change places with her. With Keith Washington. If you kidding. Okay, but before you do, Kwyn, how was your date in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, it was really nice. So far, DC really showed up and showed out. Shout out to all of my homies that came through: Yusuf, Big Homie, CC, Avery, Gabe, and my girl Berenice from Public Allies. It was a really good show. I actually almost started crying when I did one of my poems, just because I thought I had this poem called Black Girl Magic, where I talk about Black women, we don't when Corinne Gaines was shot in front of her son, it wasn't glitter that oozed out of her blood. It wasn't glitter that oozed out of her body, it was blood. So kind of this whole idea, because we're called magic, people see us not only as entertainment, but we're invincible. And therefore, when we die, when we go missing, when we are murdered, nobody takes it seriously, because it's oh, this is a disappearing act. Oh, okay, this is just what they do. So I kind of cried. I started crying because it's dang, I wrote that back when I heard about Sandra Bland. And there's been so many other women that have been added to that list that when I perform it, and it's kind of getting annoying because I'm performing and all these white people, and we talk about names that people don't know. But some people still don't know Corinne Gaines. Some people literally still don't know Breonna Taylor. Some people still don't know Sandra Bland. But it was good. We got drinks afterwards. We got free shots. So that was good to turn up, after the show, whatever.
So there were tears, there was alcohol, and there was applause. It was a good night. It was a
great night. Yes.
You have anything coming up?
After this, I'm performing at Illinois State University, September 8th. And then I think, honestly, I'm going to take a little break so I can workshop, because I've just been going back to back now, just, out of capitalism, because, Joe, I still have to make rent. I'm going to take a moment to actually get back into enjoying my art, because I don't want my poetry to become my profession. When something becomes your job, you kind of don't enjoy it as much. So I'm just going to take time to do some workshops and play around with things.
And just a point of interruption there. Myra J is a proud alum. I don't know how proud she is, but Illinois State was her school.
Okay,
so yeah. So Stephen Hill, where's your songbird headed next? And tell us where you're headed.
I don't know. We're both headed to Burning Man. Burning Man.
She's going with you.
I'm sure Yolanda won't let me have enough time to explain what Burning Man is.
Yes.
But
go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, Burning Man. You disappear into the desert for a community of about 75,000 people for a week of interpersonal exploration, music, community partnership.
And why do they call it Burning Man?
So at the end, you burn, and I don't know all the details of the time why they burned the man, but it's basically burning all the challenges. There's a man in a temple, and they both burn. That kind of burns your challenges and your troubles away of the past year until you get there next year.
Wow.
I'm all about it. It is, as I put it, the way I put this before, it's the least racist place I've ever been in the United States of America. Least place. Everybody is there. The people who come there really wish well upon everybody else who is there. They don't ask you what you do. They ask you like what you want to be, like what are your goals, what are your desires, and it's not around profession. It's around your mental, your metaphysical, it's your person. So I am a huge fan. This will be my 4th time and Shantae's 1st time, so we're very excited.
Oh, interesting.
Plus you dress up and you go out at night and
it's just an average night in the Hill household.
It's a thing.
I just Googled Keith Washington and he fine as hell. He has a naked selfie on Google. I said, "Woo, Lord!" And he's 58, and he looks like that. Lord.
Kwyn, I think it would have been nice if you had tempered your response, just for the sake of
I'm sorry, Steven, but he is. I thought for sure. I was like, okay, maybe he's not that cute, but he cute. Like, not even old man cute. But
no,
fine.
he's held up very nicely. Yeah, he's held up very nicely.
I hear his feet are ugly. Though.
Okay.
Oh, looking at. Never mind.
Okay. The feet were not in the naked photo.
Okay,
I'm just saying. So Myra J has some dates with George Wallace and J. Anthony Brown, the Queen and her jesters. She will be in Birmingham on September, I believe it's 2nd and 3rd of Labor Day weekend, and that is in Birmingham at the Stardome. I think it's the Stardome. So we'll keep you up to date on that. You on Keith, known him for 30 years. Shantae, hello. She said, yuck.
I can't.
That's really nice of you to say, Shantae. Liar.
That's my baby right there.
I hope you feel better.
Shantae, don't look at him. Don't look at him. Don't. Okay, take him out.
Okay, keep it between us.
Shantae, it's just Kwyn and Sybil right here. Keith, really,
Girl,
tell us.
I just Googled. This is from Google.
Tell us, really. You don't have to say yuck.
Man.
You can be honest with us.
He's my brother.
My brother.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
See now, you guys.
Okay, that's what she known it. Okay. That was great. Thank you so much. And Shantae, break a leg tonight. And while you're at it, give him our numbers.
Send him my Instagram page.
I'm old school. Give him my number. Kwyn, Instagram.
Give him my Instagram.
Okay. Mm-hmm. This just came across, you guys. Vanessa Bryant has won her Kobe death photo lawsuit and been awarded $16 million. A jury of 10 decided she has suffered and will continue to suffer severe emotional distress as a result of the death scene photos captured on the cell phones of 8 LA County Sheriff's deputies. Photos she fears will someday surface publicly, and that fear was the basis of her lawsuit. They awarded her $16 million. And Chris Chester, who lost his daughter and wife in the helicopter crash, was also awarded $15 million. There was crying. Obviously, the jury was polled, and Vanessa looked at them one by one in approval. The verdicts were against both the LA County Sheriff's Department and the LA County Fire Department. So,
so is LA paying that money, or is the police department paying that money?
It looks like the county.
Okay.
It says the verdicts were brought against them both, the sheriffs and the county sheriffs and the county fire department.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I am too. Stephen, are you close to this? Was this like a daily news story for you?
You're muted.
You're muted.
I didn't want you to hear me crying when you took me off. My bad. Yes. It was very clear that she was going to win this case. It was very clear that the sheriffs had taken the pictures and shared the pictures, and so I'm stunned at the size of the award. Wow. But yeah.
Okay.
Who knew police had that much money?
Well, the departments, the county.
No, it's all gonna come from the city. It'll funnel through, but yeah.
It's
that's
not
so much
taxes going up.
Yeah. All right, Mr. LA County. The weather is still in the news. We had horrific flooding in North Texas Sunday and actually more Monday into Tuesday. But now the South is bracing for more rain, flash flood emergencies in Mississippi, Louisiana, already hit by downpours. Several spots in Mississippi broke daily rainfall records. Over the last 48 hours, rain totals climbed above 7 inches in Louisiana and reached 12 inches. It reached 6 inches in Mississippi. That's in the last 48 hours. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, a lot of people had a lot of damage in their homes, their cars, cars just floating away, and a lot of damage. But Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, expecting up to 6 inches of rain over the next 48 hours, and it will continue to spread, reaching the Gulf over the weekend. So if you're traveling over the next 5 days, the Gulf Coast from Corpus Christi to Fort Myers, Texas, Fort Myers, Florida, one of my old stomping grounds, will receive up to 6 inches of rain as well. So please be careful. A great day in politics. Yesterday, 2 big primary elections. A win in the key state of New York, giving Democrats hope of doing relatively well in the midterms. This was a special election. This was not a midterm. This was a special election between the Democrat, Pat Ryan, who won against a Republican. And this is a big deal in this swingy area. This is an area that has, when I say swingy, it swung back between President Obama, who won it in 2012, Donald Trump won it in 2016, and President Biden won it in 2020. But this is giving Democrats a lot of hope as far as not getting just trounced in the House races, as well as there's still a lot of hope that things are going to be good for the Democrats in holding on to the Senate. And speaking of which, Val Demings won her primary and in Florida for the U.S. Senate, and now goes up against Marco Rubio, and she's already outpacing him in fundraising, which is a good sign.
Good.
Yeah, it is very good. And Kwyn, I thought you would like this. There's a young man whose name is Maxwell Frost. He ran for the seat that Val Demings will leave in the U.S. House, and he's on track to become the first member of Generation Z elected to Congress.
Oh, wow.
He's 25 years old, will likely be the first member of Generation Z elected to Congress, projected to win the 10th Congressional District, Democratic, actually to win the general election. He defeated Randolph Bracy, who is a party establishment back person. And so, and this is pretty much a blue state, a blue congressional district. So he is likely to be, he just turned 25, and he will, they said that the 2022 election cycle marks the first time Gen Z members, those born after 1996, are eligible to run for seats in the House of Representatives, where they must be 25 years of age. So he's a really cute kid. Afro-Cuban is his background, and just really excited for him, and very happy.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'm excited too.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead. Be the change. Tear it down.
Well, I like the be the change part.
I'm always gonna tear it down, so we just gonna.
I know. But we got to be there to build it back up too. So we just can't watch our work of tearing it down. We got to have fun there.
Yes. But tear it down.
You're so funny. You're so funny. Are you all familiar with what's going on with Hyundai and Kia cars? They're being recalled. Over 280,000 vehicles due to fire risk, and and this fire risk is serious. And they're urging owners of these particular cars to park outside, not in your garage.
Wow!
They're recalling more than
my Kia Soul.
Well, I'm going to tell you which ones they are. The recalls are more than 245,000 of the Hyundai Palisades and 36,000 of the Kia Telluride SUVs from the 2020, 21, and 22 model years. And they said it has to do with some wiring, the tow hitch wiring. And so they're investigating this, and it's so bad that right now dealers in the country, in the United States, are not selling these particular types of cars, these models, right? Until Kia and Hyundai gets this taken care of.
That's terrifying.
It is.
That's terrifying.
They said they will inspect the wiring and remove a fuse as an interim repair. This is Hyundai. Kia says they don't have an interim repair. You can do what you want.
Kids like you heard the Ohio players. Fire.
You are
Come
so
on.
wrong. You are so
Say it slow. Hold on. Fire.
okay. With
Whoa,
that,
whoa.
that is the end of our topical conversation. Let us move to entertainment. And yes, Nick Cannon is going to be a big papa again. This is likely to be baby number 10. His third with Brittany Bell. The Wild and Out host revealed on Instagram he is expecting the baby, his third with the model, Brittany. He shared the news alongside a video montage of him and Brittany at a maternity photo shoot in which Bell shows off her bare baby bump. The clip also featured him and Bell taking photos with their 2 children. He has 2 other children with her, Golden Sagan, who is 5, and their daughter, Powerful Queen, who is 19 months old. If nothing else, I love the names for his children. I absolutely love them. In addition to Golden and Powerful, he has 11-year-old twins, Monroe and Moroccan, with Mariah Carey, of course. His newborn son, Legendary Love, with the model Bree Teasy, and he is also dad to the twins Zion and Zillion, who are 13, with Abby De La Rosa. And she is currently pregnant with her third baby that may be Nick's. And don't forget little baby Zen, who unfortunately lost his fight against brain cancer at the too young age of 5 months. And this was in December. Speaking in an interview, he says the absolute joy that he feels from being a father. Every day I just wake up excited. I'm so excited for all of my kids constantly, every aspect of it. And he obviously loves the practice and he loves the babies. So
Here's the thing. We talk about this, but there's a lot of people out there with 10 kids with no job and don't want to keep up with anybody.
yeah.
Nick Cannon is one of the hardest working men I've ever met in my entire life.
Mhm.
He actively goes after checks. He is a loving person. So like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make the joke about the 10 kids as well, but like if there's a black man out there you want to have 10 kids, it's
He's
going
the
to be
one.
Nick Cannon. His
Yeah.
work ethic is insane. If he can pass that on to 10 black kids,
Mhm.
that's a great thing. He certainly can afford every single one of them. So I am in on the jokes as well. But like on the other side, if you like having kids and you can take care of every one of those kids and every one of those kids feel special, and I know at least 2 of them do, right? So if you can do that, you know what? Joke
I'm not
away,
mad.
but
I'm
like
mad at him.
what other? That's the kind of black man you want to have 10 kids. If they're gonna be a black man, have 10 kids.
Well, and here's the other thing. They'll never have to worry about getting any student loan debt forgiveness.
Yeah, this is very true.
But I say, if this is your your future and this is what you want and you can afford it, I don't see how we can condemn him for this if he's taking care of them and now he's got 2 basketball teams.
Yeah.
No, that's real. He
Yeah.
does take care of his kids. And I never also heard him talk bad about the women that he does have kids
Never.
with either.
Never.
So I think that does speak highly of his character and the children that he's going to raise too. So I am excited to see the type of children they're going to develop into. But I mean, like, dang, he's pollinating.
Right. No, if you're going to be honest, if you're going to be honest, there might be a presence issue, right? There may, because once if you have that many people that you're having kids with, you can't be with you can't be with your kids as much as you kind of probably want to,
right?
Or
even with modern technology, FaceTime can only do so much for you, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, but even if the siblings, I wonder if they feel a bit different with each other, depending on who their mother is and that type of relationship. So I think about children with different parents all the time and how that is.
Which I think is interesting when you look at the whole Kardashian thing with Khloe that just had the surrogate baby with Tristan, so that her son and now daughter, or her daughter and now son, will have the same parents, and there's something people are thinking about.
That is a family that I refuse to give my energy to. Just,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I had to take a step back from my mental health, so I don't know what you're talking about intentionally.
Okay.
But yeah, God
Well,
bless them.
let me just wish you a great and wonderful and prosperous and successful school year. And Stephen Hill, I know that we won't see you for maybe another 2-3 months after you recover from Burning Man.
I will miss you next week. I will miss you next week.
Well, have fun though. Okay. All right. And Myra J., we welcome you back as well. And everybody have a good week. Go out there and be good to each other. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye, everybody.